Have you ever driven around the neighborhood and you see a beautiful home, especially this time of year when everybody is decorating so beautifully for Christmas? And you see this beautiful home, this beautiful structure, and you make the assumption that the family that lives inside this home must be equally as perfect as the house on the outside? Well, it might surprise you, or maybe not, to find out that probably both the structure and the family inside have some flaws and cracks that they try to keep hidden from the general public. And that is the subject of this week's poetry reading. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is K.A Bloch, and I am the poet and award-winning author of 4 books that consist of poetry and prose. I also have a website, and that website is thepracticalpoet.com. And on that website, you can get copies of all of the poems that I feature each week, along with links and descriptions of all of my books. So I'm so glad that you're here. Like I mentioned, each week I do a featured poetry reading. And this week has to do with kind of hiding those things from the world that we don't want the world to see. And just like the house that I mentioned earlier, if there's a lot of cracks in the foundation or flaws, a lot of bad things can happen, right? The structure could crumble, the structure could leak, and similar things could happen to the family on the inside as well. The family on the inside might try to portray their life as very perfect. They live in this beautiful home, and I always imagine that the people that live on the inside of this home probably are sitting around a fire, reading towards the night before Christmas, or playing a board game, or watching a Christmas movie. But the reality is, for people that live, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm just kind of making an assumption, but the people that live in these big, beautiful homes, the parents probably work a lot. And I know in my company, they hire up executives. They work all day long, and then they go home and they're on conference calls overseas for hours into the night, and they do that again every day. So I have to wonder, like, when do they see their family? When do they see their children? When do they have a family dinner together, as was the norm when I was growing up? And that's kind of gone by the wayside with current times. And kids, they might be involved in tons of sports and being shuffled here and there for the different sporting events, or they might have their head buried in a video game or into their phone, and there might be little interaction going on in the family, and all of that starts to take a toll. And people don't want anybody to really know what's going on in the inside of their home, right? We all kind of keep a little bit of privacy, and we should. I mean, there are things that people just don't need to know, right? And we all are, have the right to have our privacy. But we also have this thing called pride, and pride is what prevents us really from getting out there and telling people what's going on. We don't want people to know that maybe we have a lot of debt, or maybe the marriage isn't as great as we portray, or that little Johnny is flunking out of all his classes, or so and so got a DUI, or what have you. And we try to keep those things hidden. And again, as a family and a home, we have the right to that privacy. But the bad thing that happens when we have that privacy is that nobody can help us if they don't know that something is wrong, right? Nobody can come along with a hammer and nails and help repair the structure if we don't know that it's crumbling. And so that's one of the benefits of, kind of not airing our dirty laundry. Nobody wants that, right? But just, if there is something going on, if things are not as perfect as we portray, maybe confiding in a good friend, or a close family member, a close sibling, or something like that, and just kind of saying, like, hey, this is what's going on in my life. And the nice thing about that is they can help to throw a lifeline, and maybe you can catch that, and they can help pull you up a little bit, and maybe help repair some of those cracks and flaws, or at least be a good sounding board. It's not good for any of us to kind of stay inside our homes with all of our secrets and not let anybody help us. So that might be a way to let people know, like, hey, I need some help here. We're kind of struggling with this. And so again, that is the focus of this week's poetry reading. Have you ever known a couple, maybe a married couple, or just a couple that was involved in maybe somebody that you follow on social media, or even somebody in your own life, and you envy them and you envy their relationship, and they always seem to have the perfect relationship, and then one day you find out that they're splitting up, and you're shocked. It kind of rocks your world. Like your mouth hangs open in disbelief. Like, I cannot believe that I'm hearing this. And you start to ask yourself, what did I miss? How did I miss these signs? How did I not know that, they were struggling? And the fact is that you didn't miss anything. They just chose not to reveal it to you or to the world. They just kept everything hidden and, pretended that everything was fine, as, again, is everybody's right to do that. But when that kind of thing happens, and then things do fall apart, the structure crumbles, the house crumbles, the marriage crumbles, everything crumbles. And then those around us that are standing in the rubble are the ones that are kind of, shocked and, trying to climb out of it in our own heads and come to terms with it and come to grips with it. So it can be a little bit jarring. And again, it's not that we missed anything. It's just that they chose, not to reveal. And a lot of that happens on social media these days. A lot of times social media is a highlight reel. People only put out there the best things that they want the world to know, the most beautiful photos, the gorgeous vacation shots, the new car. They don't put out there what they had to go through to get to that vacation spot or that new car, or maybe when they got to the vacation spot, the hotel was terrible, or the kids were fighting, or anything that can go wrong with the vacation. The flight was delayed, all that stuff. It's just where we got here, we arrived, look at this beautiful beach scene, and stuff like that. And that's human nature. Some people do reveal everything on social media, right, including what they ate for lunch. And again, that's everybody's prerogative to do that. But a lot of people do keep a lot of things hidden, which, again, also they're right. But like I mentioned, the I don't want to call it a problem, but the thing with that is nobody can really lend a lifeline. Nobody can really lend a hand if people aren't aware of what's going on. And so you might be pleasantly surprised if you do start to reveal some little cracks in the foundation, some little flaws in your home, in your family. You might find you're in good company, because most of us do have things that we are keeping hidden from the world. I mean, I always laugh about my closets, and I'm like, don't open my closet doors because everything's going to come tumbling out, right? And everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say that, because everybody is in the same boat, right? We all pile stuff into our closets and we close the door and hope that nobody opens it. And it's kind of that same way with things, that we kind of keep hidden. We hope that nobody opens those drawers or nobody opens those doors and finds out what's going on. But if somebody did, and somebody did happen to find out, like I mentioned, you're probably going to find out you're in pretty good company. And there's a line in the poem that talks about that. Like, what would happen if we would reveal our flaws? Would people back away from us in disbelief and horror and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you have, $20,000 in debt, or I can't believe that your marriage isn't as great as you are making it out to be? Or would they be like, yeah, I get it, because I'm either there now, or I was, or I know what you're going through, and they can lend an empathetic or a sympathetic ear. So it does take guts and bravery to admit that things in our life maybe not as perfect as we portray them, but there is some support that typically comes through when we do that. And those that choose not to support you, or that do back away with that horrific look in their eye, they're probably not the people that you want in your life anyway, right? You want the people that are going to help you rebuild that structure. You want the people that are going to help you and say, give me a hammer, give me a nail, let's fix this. What do we need to repair to make this better? And so with that, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the poetry reading. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but this poem is called Cracks in the Foundation. And it's from my latest book, Sow Seeds of Wisdom, that just came out earlier this year. And the poem can be found in that book. A printed copy of the poem can also be found at my blog, which again is www.thepracticalpoet.com. And then that would be under /blog, or the books tab would be /books. And there is a description to all of my books there. So if you don't want to stick around and listen to me read the poem, sometimes I skip over words. Words are hard, reading is hard. Feel free to go ahead and find the printed copy if you like it, print it out, what have you. And then I would love to hear your comments and your feedback on that. So I'm going to go ahead and take a quick sip of tea. Put my glasses on here and get into this poetry reading of Cracks in the Foundation. Let me just go ahead and find my bookmarked page here. I thought the point of a bookmark was to help you get to the page easily, right? I seem to be struggling here. So here we go. Cracks in the foundation. The house looks almost regal, silhouetted against the sky. People often pause and stop to stare as they walk by. From far away, it appears to be such a strong creation, but a closer look does reveal cracks in the foundation. The walls inside are uneven, causing pictures to be tilted, but the outside lawn is plush and green, with not one flower wilted. The outward appearance is vital to the family inside, for anything less than perfect would be a mark against their pride. The family who is living there puts forth the reflection that life is indeed splendid and void of imperfection. But the father speaks in harsh tones and has a callous touch. The mother likes her midday drink, perhaps a bit too much. Throughout the day, she's unaware of how much she does consume, while the timid little boy retreats by hiding in his room. The daughter, barely a teenager, always has her music blaring to drown out the family's noises as she sits by the window staring. Even the dog stays out of sight as in the corner he cowers, hoping for a rapid walk, for it has been several hours. So it's not just the foundation that tries to hide its cracks. The family inside tries to conceal the harmony it lacks. But isn't that how most of us go about our day? We hope cracks in the foundation don't give us away. We put forth a shiny smile or pretend a boastful laugh, so we look pulled together in the family photograph. But all the while inside, the smiles are weak, the laughs are few, as we try to keep the flaws hidden from public view. What would happen if we reveal our imperfections, cracks and all? Would we be greeted by nodding heads, or perhaps met with appall? Would others step forward to admit that they know how we feel? Would they start to shed their layers as their own cracks they reveal? For it's true, no one is perfect. On that we can agree. We all have cracks in our foundation, at least to some degree. But instead of sitting back and watching foundations crumble, we could lend support when we see somebody stumble. We can build each other up and have each other's backs. Our support can act as filler to help repair those cracks. So the issue isn't so much that we all have cracks and flaws. The issue is when we hide them by putting up our walls. For we cannot help each other if we don't know what is wrong, but together we can mend those cracks so the foundation remains strong. So thank you for listening to that poetry reading, again, of Cracks in the Foundation from my latest book, Sow Seeds of Wisdom, and my name down here, K.A Bloch. Printed copy can be located on my website, and I'll go ahead and link that down below. And, just again, the message here, I think the general theme of this poem is that, we're all there to help support each other. We all have secrets. We all have imperfections. Life is not perfect for any of us, as much as we may seem like on TV, the people on TV look perfect, or the homes look perfect when we drive by. And none of us has any perfect life. There's always things going on the inside. It's just a matter of how much do we choose to reveal to the outside world? And what happens when we reveal those imperfections? Do people run away from us, or do they stand by and lend support? I think you'd probably be surprised. I think in most cases, unless it's something really heinous. And again, going back to kind of letting things be known, if you suspect that there's something going on in one of your neighbors' homes, or friends or family's homes that is, detrimental or not a good thing, if there's abuse going on, or way too much drinking, or, an affair or something going on, it's kind of our duty to make sure that, whoever our loved one or friend is okay. And sometimes we need to be the ones to open up that conversation. Sometimes we need to be the ones to say, hey, I don't really want to pry, but this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I'm noticing, and are you okay? And if you're not okay, we need to get you some help. And even if you are okay, but you're dealing with this, we still need to get you some help. We need to get you some support, so that we step in and kind of intervene before that foundation crumbles. And that's a hard thing to do in any situation, right? We're almost kind of crossing a line a little bit here, but if we're, suspecting that there's more going on than, just the general household stuff that happens on a daily basis, then we really do owe it to our friends and loved ones to kind of step in and ask them outright, is everything okay? But other than that, we can kind of hopefully let them know that we are here, and they know that they can trust us if they need that helping hand. And again, we can kind of all work together to rebuild the structure however we need to, and be the support that everybody needs when when life gets a little bit rocky, when those foundations start to give a little bit, they kind of shift under our feet a little bit, maybe don't fully crumble, but maybe that foundation gets a little bit rocky, and that's when we can lend our help and our support. So I thank you for listening to this week's poetry reading of Cracks in the Foundation. Again, printed copy on my blog at thepracticalpoet.com/blog. If you liked this poetry reading, I would love it so much if you would leave a comment. Let me know how, what you thought about the poem, or your own, kind of, I don't want to know your own imperfections. I'm not going to ask you that. But if you've ever had to intervene, or, if you kind of found out that maybe something in a beautiful home or a beautiful family wasn't quite what you thought, I'd love to hear those comments either on my channel or on my blog. And if you, again, like this poetry reading and you want to hear more, I do post a weekly poetry reading every week, just depending on, from one of my 4 books on how I'm feeling, or just whatever's going on in the world. I might pick a poem out that I just feel like talking about that week. So I would love it if you would join me for another poetry reading. And with that, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day. It is Monday, so we have a long week ahead of us. So I hope that you have a wonderful week, and we will chat again real soon. Thanks so much. Bye.